It's great in the arcade. Whoa! TIE fighters! Fireballs! Coming right at me! Watch the laser towers. Aim for the tops. Pick on the capitals. Use the force. They're coming too fast! Which way? Which way? My shields are gone! All right! I'm going in!
Oh, some game, huh?
Some game!
In a galaxy of video games, there is only one. Star Wars, the arcade.
More hits like Super Mario Brothers. Arcade hits like Kung Fu. Nintendo has the most video game hits. Hogan's Alley, Duck Hunt, and more like baseball and Excite Bike. And you can play them only on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power.
The Genesis.
Does.
Genesis.
Does.
Genesis.
Does.
Genesis.
Does.
Genesis does.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Collins free. What Nintendo? Buy a 16-bit Genesis system between now and October 31st and get an extra game.
Rated M for mature. His name is Kazuma, the dragon of Dojima.
Freeze!
He was feared
When you don't pay your debts, I'm what you get.
and respected
I'm doing this because he disrespected you.
until the day he took a fall for family and broke the blood oath of Yakuza.
Today's been a very bad day.
Now he's back.
All of you will be digging your own graves. You won't get past me. This is the part where you're supposed to laugh!
For power,
There's a war going on in the Tojo clan.
for honor,
Let the massacre begin!
for vengeance.
Give me the girl.
I need that 10 billion yen.
Who told you to kill her? I see. Kazuma has returned.
And the streets of Tokyo will never be the same. Yakuza. September 8th.
The fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Arise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask. Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome dung-eater, and Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing.
In 2007, a guitar virtuoso looked in the moving box of a fat neckbeard and saw a copy of Street Fighter Anniversary for the PlayStation 2. On that day, a beautiful gaming relationship was born. This is the High Potion Podcast.
Ohayou gozaimasu!
Stephen Crosby! Paul!
Ohayou gozaimasu! Welcome to the High Potion Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Crothy. Oh no, you're muted, buddy.
Are you fucking kidding me? Of course. And I'm Halls Burkhardt. It's episode 100. Are you fucking kidding me? God damn it! Okay. That's it. Last fuck up of the evening, you know?
I love it.
Oh my God. Woo! Buddy, episode 100. We made it.
We sure did, man. It's crazy.
I know. So, people have been popping off in the chat before we jump on. We gotta acknowledge our good buddy, Rob. He said, hey, Florida man.
Rob.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody else in the chat too, man.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody.
Listen to this. I saw somebody else that was important. That's my mom.
Oh.
She said, so looking forward to this. Happy 100. Thanks, Mom.
Mama B.
All righty. So, buddy, you want to explain what we're going to be doing tonight for episode 100?
Yeah, so it's round 3 of our video game character draft. We take turns picking characters that fill out our hypothetical ultimate video game character roster, basically.
Yep. We figured nothing better than a little friendly competition for episode 100.
That's right.
Oh, we definitely got to acknowledge this. The man himself, Phil, our buddy Phil, said, congrats on 100 episodes,
nice.
gents.
What's up, Phil? Maybe next year we'll
Man.
get him in fantasy football, huh?
So, yeah, we're going to be drafting our next set of characters. So the first thing I'm going to do, right, we got a couple of things we want to cover before we get to the draft. You know, we like to goof a little bit, right, before we do our main topic. I'm going to get chat involved in the episode. So normally we flip a coin or trade off or, you know, we have different ways of deciding who gets to draft first, right? I figured tonight, let's let chat decide. So I'm going to do a poll, all right? So chat, destiny is about to be in your hands, and I don't mean that fucking Bungie game. All right, so who should get first draft? And we're gonna go Steve and Halls.
For the record, like the original draft, the first one, I went first, won the coin flip, and then Hawes went first the second round because that was fair. So
Oh my God.
We're putting it in their hands. See
Yep.
what's up.
All right.
Do you
The
want
poll
to
is up.
do you want to tell them your team so far?
We can do that. We can update. Why don't we wait until we get right
Oh, yeah,
before
that's
we
right.
start the draft, and then
Got
we'll
some business.
update.
Got
Yeah.
some business to do. Yeah.
So, buddy, you just got back from a trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hear you got some time with that Steam Deck, some travel time.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially, like one of the best use case scenarios for the Steam Deck, right? You're going on a trip, you got some flights. How'd it work for you? I haven't traveled with mine yet.
That was really great. I was lucky to be in lots of places that had handy charging ports, plugs, whatever, even including the flight there. So never really had a problem. On the way home, I had to go total battery, and I just played Dead Cells and Slay the Spire, and I had 30% left when I landed. It was like a 5-hour flight.
Hey,
So-
that's not bad.
Mhm.
Now, granted that I think you hit it with like the games you were playing, right? Maybe not the
Mhm.
most intensive.
Right,
Like
right.
I think I got maybe 2 hours battery life when I was playing Jedi Fallen Order on
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, yeah. The more intense the game, the quicker the battery goes. That's why you got to have a port there. And the
So-
good thing about those is like if you keep it plugged in, it doesn't really like mess with the battery. Like it's a
Mhm.
charge through, so it's not like running your battery while it's plugged in. So I try to do that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time as I'm falling asleep at night, I'm playing something on my Steam Deck and watching a podcast on my tablet at the same time. Like, I can't have enough media going at once, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
And I constantly leave it plugged in. Like right now, I'm playing Yakuza Kiwami 2 on the Steam Deck, and I don't know how much battery that one eats up because I've never played it not plugged in. Like, sometimes I play it at work when it's slow and it's plugged in then too. So what else? You mentioned Dead Cells, Slay the Spire. What else did you take for a test drive on the Steam Deck while you're out?
Let's see. Half-Life 2 got a
Okay.
decent little bit of playing time. But yeah, it was mainly Slay the Spire, Dead Cells, and Half-Life 2. Portal, actually. Played some
Yeah,
Portal.
it was funny because we were playing Played Up this weekend. The crew got together, and Randy, old absentee dad Randy, decided to throw us a bone and hang out. And he's like, "You guys want to play Played Up?" I was like, "Well, you can't turn down an opportunity like this." So that's kind of what we streamed and played this weekend, and it was a sort of a running gag. Because Steam will let you know when one of your friends logs in. I'd be like, "Oh, what's Steve playing in the hotel room right now?" Portal 2, that's what I remember seeing. And
Mhm.
Blasphemous.
Oh, Blasphemous. Yeah, I wasted some time on that damn game. That game's hard, man.
It is. I have that on Steam Deck as well. That's one of
Mhm.
those games that goes on sale like every 2 days, it seems like.
Mhm.
So, I don't have much personally to report in the news of like what I've been playing because it's the same stuff. Like I'm still working on Ishin. I'm 105 hours into that game.
Jeez Louise, man.
105 hours.
I mean, I'm not judging. I put 60 in, and I just felt like kind of done with it at that point. So
There's a certain point where I was like, I'm too far in, right? Like I have to sort of take this to the limit as much as I personally can. I am not going to 100% that game. 105 hours, and my total percentage for that game right now is 64%. And I'm in the second to last chapter.
dude, that's ridiculous.
And I've done everything. Like there's only one subquest that I'm waiting to open. I have all the diligence records but one completed. That shows you how much other shit is in the game that I don't want to mess with, right?
Mhm.
I'm sure we'll get into that more when we do our episode about it, though.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm on like my 4th playthrough of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, I know you've been hitting that hard. How's the
I
new
love that
game
game.
plus and stuff on that?
Good. It's tough. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You still have to upgrade that damn primal knife, even though it's it ultimately becomes invincible. You do have to upgrade it a few times and get the ticket for it. So
I gotcha.
And the enemies get tougher. You got to hit better shots.
Did you decide to rock any of the goofy costumes in your?
Oh yeah, I had the pinstripe outfit.
Nice.
Looking like a Chicago gangster.
Nice.
Pretty sweet.
So, the one thing I did want to bring up, because I'm a sucker for stuff with a branding that I like, right?
Right.
And like this year is embarrassingly exciting for video games, right? Like it kind of started slow with Ishin for us, like as being, but that's a very exciting game and it's been a really good game. But like peace and love to that game, which I really like the big stuff's coming. Like this week we're getting the review embargo for Jedi Survivor dropped today. So people are able to post the reviews. It's really strong. So far of what I've seen, I'm avoiding them for the most part just because, we're 2 days away at this point. I'm excited enough. Like,
Right.
the game's already purchased and preloaded. And then of course we talked about it a ton. Street Fighter and Diablo coming out essentially the same weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me and you and a bunch of other people, Final Fantasy 16 is coming out this year, right? In June as well. Well, today they released pictures of some Final Fantasy 16 tie-in merchandise, okay?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And what they showed off is, let me see if I can't get this shared, a set of PlayStation 5 covers. So they're not doing, which I actually think is kind of cool of them, a special PlayStation 5 where if you want the Final Fantasy PlayStation 5, and listen, this is first world problems, right? But you already had a PlayStation 5. Well, fuck me, I guess, right? No, they're just releasing the covers, right? And that's what it looks like. It's pretty slick, pretty classy. Black
like
with
it.
the gold. Who is that? Oh, it's Ifrit versus Phoenix. That seems to be branding that they're really laying on, is the two of those fighting each other. Now, what they are selling is a Final Fantasy 16 DualSense. And look at it.
That thing has had its third eye opened.
Bruh, that is one of the nicest, like,
That's
themed.
clean.
Yeah.
I like that, man.
Yeah, with like the sacred geometry and stuff going on. That thing is slick.
It's kind of Star Warsy vibes too. Like I
Yeah.
could see the handles being like what a TIE fighter pilot uses or something like that.
Yeah, I just might be having to see if I can't get my dick skinners on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so far, that's the first of any sort of special edition. I don't think they've done a special cover set for the PlayStation. They did some colored ones that they released, but not like a themed one.
Not that I can remember. They've certainly had themed bundles, but nothing like a
Yeah, with
totally.
like a special system in it or anything. Okay. So you had something you wanted to bring up before we get
Yeah.
into.
So I was reading the other day. There's this game that's coming out soonish, Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Right.
You've heard of this?
Oh boy,
The
have
game
I.
that. Did anybody ask for that game? Is anybody
Buddy.
excited about playing as Gollum? In the
Chat,
first place?
let us know if you're like,
Curious.
oh shit, that's my potential game of the
Right.
year. Lord, like I love Lord of the Rings. I won't even say like.
Yeah,
I love
I'm
Lord
a
of the
fan
Rings,
that
right?
franchise, and I just don't
I
give a
can't-
shit about Gollum.
I can't think of a licensed Lord of the Rings game I want to play less than Gollum. No,
Right.
thank you. What a bad decision. Like that is you need to lay off the weed, bro. That's a bad decision. And I
Right.
say that with peace and love. If
And then-
you're in a board meeting and you're like, we could spend a shit ton of money on the Lord of the Rings license and make a Lord of the Rings game. And then a guy's like, ooh, yes, Lord of the Rings game. What should we do? Gollum. Get out of here! No way!
Oh my gosh! And then I was reading this week that they have Elvish voice acting in the game,
Right.
but they are gating it under paid DLC because, quote unquote, they had to pay the actors to learn how to speak it. And I was like, what? You mean you paid the actors to do their job, which is act, which is what you're supposed to hire them to do, you know?
Mm-hmm. And
That's
no, you
so
eat the
shady.
cost of that extra money you had to pay them to speak Elvish. That's
Yeah.
your financial responsibility. Don't you make that a paid DLC.
Yeah.
That I'm telling you, that game's going to sell 2 copies. And you know what? It's going to be fucking Josh and Brian from Sacred Icon. And Brian's going to be all on Twitter talking about, I don't get the hate for a Gollum. I don't get the hate for Lord of the Rings Gollum. And I'll be like, phew, fucking Twitter smokes at it again, everybody.
He's back. Guess who's back?
Emily said, if I will play if you just sit on a rock and smash fish. Now that, if they were like, listen, the whole game, it's a Gollum fishing simulator. You just reach in the water with your little dick skinners and grab fish. Money sold.
Dude,
it's a stealth game.
The fish speak Elvish for some reason in that
yeah,
game.
and so you can charge for the DLC. Yeah, yeah. the magic Elvish fish DLC. Sean lines right up. He said, I bet there will be some fun fishing mini games in Gollum. There won't. This game has fun is not in this game's repertoire, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
And King Tom, he said, Gollum. Got him.
Got him.
Got him.
Yeah, King Tom.
All right. So listen, buddy, do you want to go ahead and dive into the draft?
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, these things take a little bit of time, you know.
On the eve of the NFL draft,
you
know.
Mm-hmm. So we are going to update. Man,
if Crolesty's here, I hope we draft JSN to the Packers, man.
Who's that?
Their receiver, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Oh, okay. Sean says, will Halls end up pre-ordering Gollum? Tom says
both of them, yeah.
King Tom says Halls will end up drafting Gollum. Hold on, I gotta make a change. So listen, I want to catch you guys up on our teams thus far. If you're not familiar, like if this is the first time you're tuning in or listening, or maybe like you heard another podcast use the same idea because it was such a good one. That's shit. I need to calm down on those fellas. Oh God, that's 2 swipes in 10 minutes. That was just a joke, guys. We have had 2 previous drafts. What we're doing is, you know, just like Steve mentioned, it's like the NFL draft. We go back and forth and we draft our favorite characters, put them to a team, and then we run a poll on Twitter to see who's currently winning. Right now, we're tied. I won after the first round. Steve won after the second round. So this is a bit of a tiebreaker to see who has a solid team or who has the best team. So I am going to let you take it away, Steve. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put your team on screen.
All right.
I want you to
get right here in the notes.
All right. Here, let me get them pulled up. I will.
Hey. Hey, there we go. There we go. Team Steve in the house. All right. So my number 1 overall draft pick, the number 1 pick in the entire video game character draft was Master Chief. It caused much consternation on Team Hawes. I also have Solid Snake, Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5, Sephiroth, Chris Redfield from Resident Evil, of course, Kratos, Samus Aran, Ken from Street Fighter, Lara Croft, Gehrman from Bloodborne, who's in the background there between Sephiroth and Solid Snake. He's kind of, I had to try to find him. He's kind of an Easter egg on that picture. Goro Majima, my man. Millennia, Blade of Mikola, Coltrane, Isaac from Dead Space, Gordon Freeman, Mega Man, Kane from Final Fantasy IV, the Doom Marine, Sekiro, and Handsome Jack. It's a sick team, dude.
It is a pretty sick team. I have to agree. Like, you got a solid group of dudes there and ladies. Now, however, you guys are about to see the real shit, huh? The good shit.
No Kid Icarus. Rick.
No, Kid Icarus. Rick's got a little bit of that troll in him sometimes. You ever notice that?
All the time.
All right. So this is my team. This is Team Halls. All right. We got Roger Wilco from Space Quest. We got whatever the fuck his name is, Manny Carmine from fucking Gears of War 3, the boy that lived, the good boy that lived. You know what I mean? Commander Shepard, Ellie from Last of Us, the queen of digital cheeks herself, Cortana, Ronnie, Kazuma, Kiryu Kazuma from Yakuza, Little Mac from Punch-Out, Clementine from the Walking Dead games, the Telltale Walking Dead games, and Cammy, of course, from Street Fighter. Monty Mole, because nobody beats Monty Mole. Star Fox, Fox McCloud, Estinian. So what's funny is we both drafted a Dragoon, right? You have Kane, I have Estinian from Final Fantasy 14. Sonic the Hedgehog, Joker from Mass Effect, Tifa, ooh woo, Yuna from Final Fantasy 10, Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima, and Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. That's my team.
Solid team, dude.
Yeah, it's really a pretty good team.
Rob says Ellie is going to burn my team to the ground for vengeance, and kind of believe him.
Right?
Believe him.
Look at this. Ice Planet Hoff, Sean Hoffman, everybody, one of the best mods in the game. He said he did the Cammy ooh woo emotes, and he also said nobody fucks with Monty Mole. And then Crowlisty, I'm not quite sure. What do you mean the hat got you? What's wrong with just a normal ass hat? So, Steve, give me one moment, and I am going to check the results of the poll.
Okay. I guess you're taking that completely normal size hat off. Maybe. You know, your team is pretty good.
It's not too bad, huh?
Geralt could mix up some potions for everybody.
Yep. So listen, buddy. I won by 2 votes.
Okay,
it was close. It was really close. It was down to 2 votes. So, Team Halls, which I have a feeling might need to get renamed Team Down Bad after this episode.
Uh-oh. You
we'll
about
see.
to go ooh woo?
Not to start off. Well, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. Because I could not, I had to go back and triple check that this character hadn't been drafted yet, and that's Link.
That's
Link.
Yep.
Link from Legend of Zelda, baby.
Yep, I couldn't believe he was still on the board, but he still is. That's a good
look at that guy right there.
Good
Handsome. And you know what? That boy's an elf. And you know what I've never once had to do? Pay a couple of extra bucks to hear him talk Elvish. Because that boy don't talk. Now, Nintendo might try to pull that, to be honest. That's kind of in their business practice. No, well, maybe.
Okay, nice. Well, shall I?
Yes. What?
I also had to check to make sure this dude was still on the board, and it's Cloud Strife. So I'm going to take Cloud Strife. Give me that iconic Buster Sword, baby.
Fuck! Okay, cool. It's cool. I definitely don't have some last minute changing to do. Man, you know what? So I got so hyped up after the Final Fantasy 16 presentation, right? That one day, the next day when I was going to stream, I was like, I have so many things I need to finish. All I want to do is play a Final Fantasy. So I started playing Final Fantasy VII Remake again, but I'm playing the PS5 version. Mm-hmm. Boy, does that run well. And the very first comment on the stream was Emily going holy shit, Cloud's hot in the remake. And I was like, yeah,
Yep.
Every damn person in this game is hot. Do I need to remind you? I mean, come on, hold up. Please, God, let Safe Search be on.
This is literally the only person I could think of to answer Link, and even that, I don't think he really does, to be honest.
Sheesh. I mean, come on. I think that's an excellent pool. It's crazy. You know, like in the early days of the PlayStation, they didn't necessarily have a solid mascot, right? Like, because that's back in the day when a mascot was kind of like really mattered. Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic, right? and you know, they would use like Crash Bandicoot in licensing stuff sometimes, like in advertising. So he was a bit of a mascot. They would use Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal. They would use him sometimes.
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure.
But when Final Fantasy VII came out, like, since it was such a big deal that they stopped working with Nintendo because Nintendo didn't want to go disc-based, like with their next system, with the Nintendo 64.
That just goes to show you, to how edgy the 90s were. Like, yeah, let's have Sweet Tooth, this serial killer who drives around in a sick ice cream truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, like when you really think about, like, you're just playing Twisted Metal, right? You're playing that, you're running around ramming your buddies. Well, you're playing the game, right?
Digitally.
And right, and you don't stop to think of the context, right? So, like, Sweet Tooth, he's a killer that drives ice. That dude kills kids. Sweet Tooth is a child murderer.
Yeah.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, my next pick for the
That's hilarious.
I'm not shitting you. Sweet Tooth the Clown from Twisted Metal.
I mean, I can't argue with it. He's pretty iconic. If you're going to pick somebody from that franchise.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have some Twisted Metal representation, right? And I couldn't think, like, for a second I thought about, and I couldn't even, Axel, right? The guy who rolls around with the big wheels, because that's always the guy I play, but he's not iconic.
Right, right.
Like 9.8 times out of 10, if you ask somebody, did you ever play Twisted Metal? Yeah, I remember that game. What character do you remember? Sweet Tooth. Like, he's the most iconic character from the game.
For sure. And I love that series. Twisted Metal 2 and Twisted Metal Black are two of my faves from like the 90s, man. I loved those games so much.
I remember one time I went on vacation with my grandparents. They had a house down on the coast, right? And I took my PlayStation and they were like, hey, you want to rent a game for the week while you're here? And I was like, heck yeah, I do. And I rented Twisted Metal 3. Had never played it. And it was one of the biggest disappointments, like, just because of how much worse it was than 2 and how much I had played of 2, but I still played the dick out of it.
Sure.
It had a heavy amount of Rob Zombie music on the soundtrack. I remember that.
That's hilarious. That definitely would have stood out for you. You know?
Okay, so let's get some chat updates before we move on to your next pick, buddy.
All right.
We'll stop
There's some good stuff in chat, by the way.
I know.
Sean's side wager is fantastic.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up. He said, side wager, whose team would return the most Rule 34 results?
I think
mine.
Prior to that last pick, you would have been the favorite, but Sweet Tooth might bring you down. Although, actually, that's not true. I mean,
bro, the problem is if you look at Sweet Tooth Rule 34, you're on the Mindhunter list on Netflix, bro. There's going to be some dude smoking fucking Marlboro Reds in a dimly lit room asking you questions.
You need to keep an eye out for an unmarked van parked down the street.
Yeah. My mom says, can't believe you picked a clown since you've always disliked him. Thanks for telling everybody about that, Mom. Thanks a lot. No,
it's true. It's true. He's facing his fear.
Yeah.
He's going to draft a giant spider later.
Now, speaking of someone else, like, I think if Jeff and Rick went out and had a drink together, they would get, well, I know Jeff doesn't drink anymore. He could have a nice sody pop, diet sody pop. They would get along because they both got a little bit of that troll in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff says, can't believe Oro wasn't a pick. Gotta respect the Stones. And then he dropped Oro emotes. He knows how I feel about those goddamn stones.
Those emotes are awesome.
That man, by the time I drive to Texas and delete all the characters I don't want him to play in Street Fighter V, he's going to have like 2 people
One
available.
person left, and then you're going to be like, what am I going to take? I can't. All right, are you ready for my next pick?
Yep, this is your third, right? Second?
Just my second. Just my second. Yep. I am going to take 2B from Nier Automata.
Okay, hold on. You're going to need to expound.
Okay, so this is a weird little game from Square Enix in like the late 2010s ish, right? Like 2017, I think. And it was a really fun game. Platinum did the engine action game, and a really, really dark story led by this lady, an android. She and her partner, who's also an android, and she's got 2 swords and whips a lot of ass. And it's a really great game, but it's very dark, not for kids.
No. And what's interesting is I remember being very excited initially for the original Nier. Like coming out, it came out on like the 360, and it was a Square Enix game, and there was like a talking book. Like in Nier Automata, you have the little robot that flies around with you, right?
You can give it a skin to make it look like a book, for people who played it. Automata is just a much better game than that.
Well, that's the thing. When it first came out, like this was back when like X-Play was a thing. Shout out Morgan Webb, ooh woo. And they gave it a really bad review, and they're like, it's a whole bunch of fetch quests, blah blah blah. And then over time, it started to be one of those games that people sort of, I guess, started to look at under a different light. And it really came to a head when they announced this game. And this game came out and is phenomenal. Like, I haven't beaten it, but it's a really good game. It actually has a bit of an Evangelion feel to it, to be honest.
100%, big time. Yeah. And this is a game that you have to play through like really like 3 or 4 times, but like the third playthrough is completely different, and all the playthroughs are different, in their own ways, but it's just a fascinating game. And to me, she's an iconic frontman, and I play all my games in Japanese. We know this. And she is voiced by Mikasa from Attack on Titan.
Ooh, that's cool. That's good to know. Yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal game. That's a great pick. She was on my list this week.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, yeah, you stole that one. And the first. Both your picks were on my list. So
Link was on my list. Sweet Tooth was not, though.
Well, let's see. Somebody who's probably also not on your list, if I had to guess, is a character. So, you know me, man, I'm a big JRPG, right? JRPG guy. One of my favorite modern JRPGs, meaning like released in the last 10 years, a game that I think had it come out during like the Super Nintendo era would be considered in the same quality bracket as Final Fantasy VI, as Chrono Trigger, as Final Fantasy IV, any of those JRPGs, and that's Dragon Quest XI. So my character that I'm drafting for this my third pick of the evening is a character by the name of Jade from Dragon Quest XI.
Very nice pick. I'm sorry, there is hilarity happening in the chat right now.
Oh my God, it sure is. My mom says, I'm going to ask a stupid question, but what is Rule 34? Mom, you don't need to know.
You don't.
Okay, Mom, listen, like, I love you. You are a wonderful mom. I could not have asked for a better mom. I thank you so much for showing up and supporting your man-child of a son as he sits here and talks about video games with his best friend. Hold on, Steve, I got to get real, okay? Mom, listen, I love you, okay? Let's not go down this road, okay? There's some things, like, I think you can spend the rest of your life with your wonderful husband, Richard, and your 2 kids and your grandkids, so far, and, your pets, and never sully yourself with knowing what Rule 34 is, Mom. Like, there's just certain things. But this pick would definitely help me in the Rule 34 bet, you know? And then, oh Lord, oh no. And then Emily explained it. She
in
says,
like a great way, really.
Yeah. She said, forgive me, Mama B, but it basically means if you can think of something, characters, romantic pairings, whatever, someone on the internet has posted porn of it.
She's absolutely right. That's what it is. But well, we just leave it at that.
And Rick said, oh boy. So yeah, Mom, basically it's Rule 34 of the internet. If it exists, there's porn of it somewhere on the internet. So
you did a service, Emily. Nice job.
Good call. But this is Jade, and I would imagine, because I'm a good boy, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do those sort of things, but I would imagine there's Rule 34 of Jade out there. She is I don't know. So I would say her class, right? Like if you were going based on like traditional fantasy classes, would be, holy shit, that I can't just roll by. That's someone mad about them changing her boob size for one of the releases. That's what that is. Oh my Lord. She's kind of a monk class, right? So she has 2 different weapons she can fight with. She can fight with that spear that you see her with, and she can also use claws. And she's one of those characters that if you develop enough, like level up, and she was always at my party when available. She is like a damaged machine.
Nice.
And one of the things that Dragon Quest XI does that I really like is it has that old school JRPG feel of where you can sort of tailor make your party with the characters you like and really pump leveling into them and make them real powerful. Oh, Aaron Boyd must be a little late. He said, what is this list they're making? Aaron, buddy, it's the 3rd round of our character draft. And this one right here, that one straight up goes to my buddy Aaron Boyd because he likes this game even more than I do.
Nice.
So Jade, so far I've drafted Link from Legend of Zelda, Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, and Jade from Dragon Quest XI. Buddy, who's your next pick?
Okay, so my next pick is going to be, I kind of have to have somebody iconic because you have somebody iconic you took in the last round. I'm going to take Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. I need to kind of have the yin to that yang over here. I want to have somebody from Mortal Kombat, and I've played him throughout the years. I don't really have like a main in that game, you know, so he's as good as any.
So I would say if I had to, like, if I associate a Mortal Kombat character with you, it's Scorpion. 100%.
Okay. Cool.
Like, that's one of those things I always thought was kind of funny about us is like, you're a Ryu guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm a Ryu guy. You're a Ken guy. I'm a Sub-Zero guy. You're a Scorpion guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was actually surprised once again that he wasn't on a list yet. Like when I was making the images and stuff.
Right.
And like
look at that, so badass. So
know,
many of these pictures are so awesome. And I mean,
like,
you want to talk about like an iconic thing, like the spear attack. I mean, that's just so iconic, as well as the fatality of the skull.
Oh yeah, taking that like over the years, right? When fighting games iterate a shit ton of times, like sometimes they get a little too goofy, right? And Mortal Kombat definitely has a history of that with their 3D era of like PlayStation 2 games before they went back to, you know, with Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11. Consistently though, they don't fuck with Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Like they might change the designs around a little bit to make them look like they'd be in a Christopher Nolan Batman movie or some shit, right? But like they keep the basics. Scorpion's a dude that wears a black and yellow costume. Sub-Zero wears the black and blue, and their moves stay the same. They might add
fire and ice.
Yep, might add a little special juice on there, but it's so well done and so classic that they haven't had to fuck with it as the years have gone on. I think that's like a testament to character design and mechanics design for those characters.
What was the line in Freddy versus Jason where somebody's like, Freddy hates fire.
Oh, so Jason must hate water. Yeah. Oof.
It would be funny if, like, at the end of that movie, Scorpion and Sub-Zero stepped out of the cornfield.
Dude, do you know, like, because, you know, there was plans to do a sequel to Freddy versus Jason. It was going to be Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Mhm.
And Freddy versus Jason did pretty well at the box office,
I went
right?
and saw it. I loved that
I
movie.
saw it
Yeah,
3
was
times in
great.
theaters.
Yeah.
3 times.
I mean, it's great on its own merits, okay, you know.
Yeah. But do you know how stoked I would have been if they were like, actually, the sequel's going to be Freddy versus Jason versus Sub-Zero and Scorpion from Mortal Kombat? I would have shit myself inside out of excitement. Holy moly.
Would have been a lot of fun. All right, who you got next, Playboy?
All right. Next up, so there is a franchise that is represented on your list that's not represented on mine yet, and it's a franchise I love that we both have been a little extra obsessed with because of the recent Resident Evil 4 remake. So I wanted some Resident Evil representation on my team. You've got Chris, arguably one of, if not, I'd say between Chris and Jill, those are the two most
faces of the franchise.
Yeah, with Leon very closely following, right? But you know me, I like to go a little more deep cut. So that's why mine
this
is
a
Ada
great
Wong,
pick.
baby.
Great
Ada
pick.
Wong. Team down bad.
Great pick. She wasn't on my list, but I do really like this pick.
Yeah. So Ada Wong. Steve, how would you sort of describe Ada Wong's character?
So she is like a mercenary who is kind of working with the bad guys at first, and kind of, I think, eventually tries to come around. I haven't played her arc in 6 yet, so I'm not really
We're
sure
gonna,
what
though.
comes of the character. Yeah. So, but in 2, she's kind of a double agent. In 4, she's a
Kind of an anti-hero.
she
She's
helps
kind of a
your
bad
character
guy,
a
but
lot.
yeah.
But her designs again are kind of bad. But I just like her character. She's fun. Her design is fun to me, like the cocktail dress and stuff. That
And an immediate, like when we got back into Dead by Daylight and I saw that she was a playable character, I was like, well, I've got a new character to play. Alrighty, I'm playing Ada. Not, by no means, not most people's first thought when they think of characters from Resident Evil, but
no,
I couldn't.
I think she's up there. I really do. I think she's a pretty memorable character. With that said, you know, I would agree. I'd say maybe top 5. Yeah.
Walter said, hey man, is that my new mom? And I said, from your lips to God's ears, buddy. Walter, Billy said, how did it take that long for Link to get picked? I don't know, buddy. I could not believe it myself.
Right. Now, in my defense, I haven't played a Zelda game since Link to the Past.
Oh,
so
you never played Ocarina of Time? You poor man. We got to fix that. That's a good-ass game. That's
I'm
real
Zelda
good game.
deficient. It's the one area of my life that I don't have a ton. And I love, you know, Zelda, and Zelda 2 particularly. Link to the Past was great.
I mean, if you want to talk about a series that is impressively consistent in excellence, Zelda is it, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I moved away from
occasionally-
Nintendo, you know, went more
Yeah.
PlayStation, Xbox.
To be completely honest with you, Breath of the Wild, like I went away from Nintendo too, right? Like with the Wii, I wasn't super interested in motion controls. And Breath of the Wild, seeing that game and sort of like that they were going away from that model, the motion control model with the Switch, is what made me get a Switch. So I still have yet to play like Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. One day I will. But I've played all the other... I can't say all of them. I haven't played those doo-doo CDI games, and I'm sure there's a couple DS games I haven't played.
Right.
But yeah, Ada Wong, Down Bad Crew is... I mean, listen, we ain't stopping here. The night is young.
Back
All
in
right.
effect. All right,
So-
my next pick.
Well, just to update real quick, I
Okay, yeah,
have
go for it.
Link, Sweet Tooth, Ada Wong. Those are my 3, right? Oh, and Jade from Dragon Quest XI. Okay, buddy.
Walter's like, take me.
Listen, keep the tail down, bro. Every time. Okay. So go on with your next pick, buddy. Who's your next person?
So my next pick is also from the same franchise, but not necessarily the same timeline. Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil 8. You want to pull her up? She's the
she's the tall mommy,
8 feet tall vampire mommy. Yep,
buddy. There are a few times in my life when I have seen the internet simultaneously get so fucking down bad horny for a character online than this lady and the new Cammy outfit for Street Fighter 6. Like, but this, I can't, she was the biggest one I've ever seen. Everybody immediately started making tall mommy memes and stuff. Now, I haven't played... See, look at this. You know there's bad intentions with this image, bro. You know why this image was put together. Like, everybody's fully clothed, but you know the intentions were fucking spicy. Give us a little backstory, let us know what her deal is.
So she's just kind of one of the 4 big bads of Resident Evil Village. And she has 3 daughters that also harass you throughout the game. She's pretty sadistic. There's not really much in the way of sexual tension between her and your character. Much, I'd say. But
but there is some tall mommy
maybe
stuff?
a tiny little bit, yeah. Not reciprocated from your character, but from her maybe. But yeah, she's pretty memorable, I would say. Like, with the witch hat and everything, I really like that.
And the Freddy
look.
fingers?
Yeah.
Bro, I'll tell you this, like, hold on. Shit, she could have an easier name to spell.
Dimitrescu.
I didn't realize. I saw a lady doing a cosplay of one of the daughters. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. Well, we don't maybe need to look at the cosplays. Yeah. Right? Right? Oh, jeez, Louise. You see what I mean? Intentions are bad. Right. I saw that and I was like, oh, I don't know what this is from, but I'm into it. And that probably explains a lot. That seeing that and I was like, oh, hello. All right. So that was yours. My next one, listen, I have a history of only playing a certain type of character in Street Fighter, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, boy.
Or in fighting games. But recently, since getting into the fight stick, we talked about it, I've started working
your charge characters?
Charge characters.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to add one to signify, after fucking 30 plus years of not being able to play them, finally getting the hang of it, I wanted to add somebody. Now, arguably, I think maybe my strongest character is Balrog, or Ballhog, as I like to call him. But I was like, I like him. He's got an excellent design, but there's somebody I think I want on my team more, and that's our boy Edward Honda.
Nice. I was really wondering. I was like, are you going to go Balrog here?
It brought up pictures of actual Hondas. So that's my dude right there. He's a sumo wrestler. His design is sick. His
iconic.
Moves are sick. Yeah, like the flying headbutt, the 1,000 slaps, the belly flop.
Game.
Every single game. Is he? Well, he's not in 3.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That is true.
Because 3 was like...
true. Ken, Ryu, Chun-Li.
Mm-hmm. But such a badass character. And a character I always wanted to play because I liked him so much, right? And also, you know how we were talking about, like, they haven't had to make a lot of changes to Scorpion and Sub-Zero over the years. Same can be said for E. Honda, as well as his character stage, right? Like, his character stage is maybe the most iconic character stage in fighting game history.
Oh,
the
I love
bathhouse.
Bathhouse, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I love E. Honda, man. I'm so stoked.
I wonder if he's going to have that level in 6. Or if it's going to be...
I was just wondering that myself, if the bathhouse level was going to be there or not. 100% Jeff knows right now, and he's looking down at us for not... How do you guys not know the answer to that?
looks up from playing the beta or the demo.
Yeah. So E Honda, that's my dude. He's on my team. Who do you got next?
All
buddy?
right, let's see. I'll pull up my list here. All right. Next pick is going to be from a game that I have spent so many hours in. It's utterly ridiculous. I'm taking The Silent from Slay the Spire. My poison lady.
My favorite character.
The
Yeah.
Shiv lady. She's my favorite character as well. She's the most fun to play to me. A lot of different fun build synergies and just I
man.
think rad character design. And sure, it's cribbed a little bit from Reaper from Overwatch, but they acknowledge that with the character. They have a card called Die Die Die, which is a fun little homage.
Right.
But, yeah.
Now hold up. We got a chatter in here. I have no idea who this could be. Certainly not somebody that's in the same building or same location as Steve, who has maybe played more Slay the Spire than Steve. That's Cindy. That's Steve's wife. Hey,
that's my
Cindy.
wife. Hi, baby.
Emily also said, "Hell yeah!" I knew the Slay the Spire pick was gonna. That is a game that you can see it. Like, even if you're not there with the person, you can see it when it gets them, right?
Yeah.
Like, whether they play it for the first time and they're like, uh-oh, or they watch somebody play it and they're like, uh-oh, right? That game can get its hooks into somebody.
Sure.
For sure. And I've seen many friends go down the path of Slay the Spire. I've played a bit of it myself. Like, I can't even, like, it's an excellent game. I just have not put the time in it to, oh my Lord. Oh, Slay the Spire 2. Surely that's real. Not a lot of artwork for. That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's some fan.
Yeah, I like
artwork.
that. Yep. Poison specialist.
Like Slay the Spire, just like any other fantasy game, whether it's a card-based game or not, has classes for their characters. She's like your classic rogue poison type character, and she is sick. When you stack up some of those things, like. I remember a couple of weeks into playing, I wasn't even streaming for everybody. I was just playing it in Discord, and you and Jeff were giving me pointers or playing the silent and like synergies to do. When that shit clicks, it is addictive. I 100% see why it's addictive.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, when you get the right relics and the right kind of ways to scale your characters, you can kick some ass. All right,
do you think they'll ever? Well, I was going to ask, do you ever think they're going to follow that up with a sequel or anything?
I don't know. They do. I know they're working on another game, but I don't believe it's a direct sequel. And I mean, it's literally two guys, so I don't know who.
Okay.
What else they can do?
I'm going to be 100 with you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be careful on this next one. All right. So I got to be careful. I don't know. I'm hoping Safe Search is on. When I hit enter, fingers crossed. All right. I thought it might be funny. I was like, you know what would be funny is if I drafted a lady from an anime titty game. But then I was like, well, like finding a picture online, like, that seems a little dicey. Who knows what might come up.
Right.
And then I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, oh, I haven't drafted anybody from King of Fighters. And Steve and I have recently gotten into King of Fighters. Now, I would say my main in King of Fighters is Lu Wang.
Yep.
We don't need to get into why my mom's watching, right? But I would say the person I drafted is maybe a little more iconic than Lu Wang. Lu Wang is actually a fairly recent addition to the roster, I think within the last couple of games. So I drafted...
Ooh, this makes sense.
Oh my God. I drafted Mai from King of Fighters. And you know what? We don't need to scroll. That's all. That's the character.
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
There's nothing else to be aware of. That's the character.
Yep.
She's on my team. Team down bad, Mai.
Cool. Guess I'll go ahead and draft my King of Fighters now as well. Can you guess?
Oh my God. Hold on. I'm just going to go ahead and start typing it. King of Fighters, Shermie.
Yep, you nailed it. Shermie.
That's the character. That's all you need to know.
She looks in that picture. It's awesome. She looks like Ranma one half. from the anime, but like one that could seriously just throw you all over the place, like with suplexes and head scissor takedowns. And she's a grappler. That's the character that's
from
as
15.
she looks in 15. Yep.
Yeah.
And she's very well animated. A blast to play as well. So let's just leave it at that.
Hold on, I'm gonna get some other pictures of Shermie pulled up real quick. There we go. This is a good picture. This is a good picture. Also, pretty good picture. Cake, baby, cake. All right.
Oh man, brilliant.
Thanks, buddy. All right. So, my next character comes from what I would say is one of my top 2 favorite games of all time. You'll notice every draft, I draft a Final Fantasy character. Mine hasn't was going to show up a little earlier, but I had to reconfigure things.
Sorry.
No problem. And I draft a Mass Effect character. Commander Shepard and Joker were my choices so far. For this round of the draft, I'm picking a character who gets introduced in the second game, and that's Miranda Lawson.
Okay. Who
From
I will
Mass
be
Effect
meeting
2 and
here. I'm going to guess that I'm going to be playing through this sometime like before Starfield. Like I think
okay.
in that area, like kind of between a lot of games, like but before Starfield. Kind of get me hyped up for that a little bit.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's still watching. Aaron Boyd is in the process of playing Mass Effect 1 right now. And I've had to do the typical friend who's played Mass Effect to their friend who hasn't so far and be like, listen, the first one's a little rough, but just get through it.
Got to stick it out.
After the King of Fighter picks, my mom said, great pick, Halls and Steve. Krolisty said, the pot's growing on the wager. I told you. I'm telling you, I think it's me. We're not done yet. Miranda Lawson, like, listen, you're seeing a theme here, right? But also a really interesting character. One of the things I like about the Mass Effect series is the character writing. Like, I think the stories are really good, but the sort of moment-to-moment moments with your friends and your crewmates when you talk to them and how you can sort of influence them to think differently about, like, these huge issues. Like, it tackles some pretty heavy themes, right?
Yeah.
There's, like, in the first game, like, you have a MAGA lady, Ashley, on your crew who hates aliens, like, just straight up hates them. Now, you can convince her not to be like that, or you can let her go full Gina Carano. I never go that route, right? And Miranda, like, listen, Miranda's not that extreme, but she's got some layers to her. I don't want to spoil it since you haven't played it, since Aaron is watching, haven't played it. Jesus Christ, Mom.
Aaron did say he loves it, and I do agree with him. While parts of it are kind of rough, Mass Effect 1 is a fun play.
It is fun. But 2, shit. I'm going to be playing that alongside you. I haven't finished up my Legendary Edition playthrough of 2. I'm going to restart. Awesome. One thing that's really funny so you know the character creator in 1's a little janky, right? 2's is not as bad, but it's also not super great. There was a website back in the day that showed you how to make celebrities in the Mass Effect 2 character creator. So my first Mass Effect 2 playthrough, because they let you redo your character design from 1 if you import your character, I made look like Terry O'Quinn. And
nice.
It was so fucking weird seeing him get down with this lady. And I guarantee you there's Rule 34 of that.
Oh, I love it.
All right, who's your next pick, buddy?
Okay, let me see here. All right, so this one's a little off the beaten path, but I think you'll appreciate the spirit of this.
Okay.
I'm taking the greatest video game football player of all time. I'm taking Tecmo Bo. Tecmo Bo Jackson. The greatest, the greatest football player of all time.
How am I supposed to? Okay, Steve, how am I supposed? There we go. There's a picture.
That's fine. Yeah, like basically, if you played a football game back in those days, if you're an old head like me, he was unstoppable in this game. You could the way this game worked basically was you could run left, you could run right, or you could pass, and the defense basically guessed run or pass defense. And it didn't matter what the defense called. You were scoring a touchdown every time Bo Jackson touched the damn ball. It's kind of a thing. Like, there's a legend to it. So
there definitely is. There absolutely is. Jeff says, this man brought out the Tecmo Bowl Raiders. Damn.
That's right.
My mom said, I have noticed you've been picking a lot of sexy-looking women, Halls. Mom, your boy's down bad. All right, listen, we don't need to keep... Yes, I have. Yes. All right. It's what I'm into. Woo! Yeah, there is a legend of Tecmo Bowl Bo Jackson. You're not wrong. And God forbid you played this 2-player, because I never owned it. So if you went over to a friend's house and they're like, you want to play some Tecmo Bowl? It was AKA, you want me to beat you with the Raiders and Tecmo Bowl?
Right.
Shit.
Yeah.
Aaron
and in real life, he was a great athlete too.
Where did he play college?
It pains me to say it, but Auburn.
I thought so. I was really wondering. I wasn't doing that as a bit. I was like, I kind of think he might have played for Auburn. Oh, and Jeff says, also as an aside, I don't see Honda stage in 6. Bummer. I bet you it'll be a DLC.
Yeah.
And Aaron said that Bo Jackson baseball football Game Boy game was cool. I don't have any experience with that. A dual baseball and football game. All right. So I got my Mass Effect character out of the way. I got to get my Final Fantasy character out of the way. Thus far, my Final Fantasy characters that I've drafted are Tifa, Yuna, opposite sides of the ooh-woo scale when you think about it, Estinian. And listen, this one's not ooh-woo at all, but I love this character. I love this game. At the time, it was sort of a return to form for Final Fantasy, right? After a few games of doing like a more sci-fi fantasy with, 6, 7, and 8, they did this, Final Fantasy 9. And the face character, although not considered necessarily oh my lord, there's some characters that are not that guy in there. It's Vivi.
Yeah, I love
Final
this character.
Fantasy 9. I love this character. I love that this game is incredible. Vivi's story, not to spoil it, because it's one of those things I think people should experience if they're into playing that type of game. It's heartbreaking. Like, it's really good. Like, and this is an age before voice acting in Final Fantasy games. It was the last game that wasn't voice acted, and you definitely, it's all in your head. You hear the voices and stuff in your head, and the writing on this game is really good. It's got a solid translation, which frankly isn't always the case for a Final Fantasy game. Like, obviously, You Spoony Bard is an example that became like an early meme on the internet. The original 7 translation isn't the greatest, but 9's is pretty good. The music's great. I love this character. I love that for this return to a more classic fantasy storytelling with this one, they went with the classic Black Mage design from the very first game. I love when Final Fantasy does references like that and references their history, which they're really good at doing.
Yeah, and it's especially when it's that period, which is my favorite period of it, really. I just love that aesthetic. Can't wait to see it kind of make its return a bit in 16.
Bro,
Kinda,
my
not
mom's
quite this extent. But.
My mom's throwing shots, bro. She said, I also thought he played at Auburn. I knew there was a reason I didn't like him. Sheesh. My mom has a heavy dislike from Auburn because of one of my uncles being a huge Auburn fan and being a little bit of a dick about it.
I knew there was something I liked about your mom.
All right, buddy. Who's your next pick?
All right, let's see. So this next pick, I'm going back to the Resident Evil well.
Okay.
One more time. I got to do it, man. I'm putting Leon on the team.
I knew it. When I was thinking about a character, who is that? Who is this guy?
I don't know.
With the 90s facial hair.
I don't know. We got to get him from 4 because he's really hot in the remake.
In some of these pictures, he's got a bit of a Johnny Grosso vibe. I'm not gonna lie.
Those are the young. That's a young Leon from 2, but if you get him from 4, like he's like older, like fucking. He's got like the haunted eyes, you know, from the fucking his past in Raccoon City. He's seen some shit. He's got these sick bangs. He's really good looking. Not to mention the fact that the dude has some great like Arnold level one-liners in this game too. Like he's real funny to me. I like his character a lot, and I'm happy to have him on the team.
You know, sometimes I wonder, like, what would that character's legacy be without 4, right? Because obviously you play him in 2, and 2 is a classic, right? Like one of those instances where the sequel just really knocked it out of the park, right? But I still feel like even after that, there was like a little bit of a like, well, what happened to Chris? And you know what I mean? Like, where are the characters? And Jill from 1. I kind of feel like 4 really cemented him. The fact that he's in probably two, if not the most strong entries in the game, like he may not be as recognizable as Chris Redfield, but I think he's way cooler because he's in the 2 of the better games. Like he's in 2 and 4.
He might be now as big numbers as that remake is doing. We'll see.
No doubt. Did they ever end up doing Leon in those Resident Evil movies? I know they did like 8 or 9 of those.
And you talking about the Mila Jovovich pictures?
Yeah, the one, the Mila Jovovich pictures.
I don't know.
I think I saw the first 3 or 4 of those, and then,
I saw the first one, and it was fine.
That's a good idea for a Patreon, is watching that whole series.
Ooh, I'm down. Yeah.
So my mom said
he is hot.
He is hot. All right.
Absolutely correct.
She's getting involved. So far I have drafted Ada Wong, Miranda Lawson, Vivi, Mai, Link, E Honda, Sweet Tooth, and Jade from Dragon Quest 11. I have 2 more, right?
Yep.
Neither of these, my last 2 don't contribute. I got Team Down Bad out of the way first, right? It's just normal. I'm a man child after this, right? So once again, I'm in a very JRPG mood right now. It's because there's a new Final Fantasy coming out, and I think there's a classic that needs to be represented on my list. So I am drafting Chrono from Chrono Trigger.
I like this, man. I like it. This fits your team aesthetic. You have a lot of like these kind of characters on your team, and I really like it.
Yeah. Listen, he is like, there is a crazy sort of making of documentary, not like a 2-hour picture, but like a 45-minute to an hour documentary you could do about the making of this game and how it was essentially the dream team of JRPG development, because you had the artists from Dragon Quest and the team from Final Fantasy teaming up to make a JRPG, right? Like, the character designer is the same guy that does Dragon
Ball Z. I mean, you can obviously tell.
Yeah. And like, it is one of the closest things that I've played to a perfect game. It's got multiple endings. It does time travel in a really cool way. In a pretty well thought out way. There's extra characters, and like, it was so late in the Super Nintendo life, right? And like, just the sprite work, the music, and also big ups for being a game that is awesome, and you get a really good story and some really good character development that isn't 150 fucking hours long.
No, like, man, I kind of missed those days.
The last time I played this game, it took me 17 hours to beat it, and I beat it.
Right,
I
did everything.
Yeah.
Ghoul Beans is a great question in chat.
This is a good question, buddy.
And
Ghoul Beans asks,
I've been waiting for him to draft him. I'm not sure.
So my feeling is, yes,
say
they're
yes,
available.
obviously.
If they were created, like if a character in a licensed universe, he's asking about Cal Kestis and Star Wars, right? If a character in a licensed game is solely a video game character or was written and introduced in a video game, I think that is fair, right?
I mean, dude, you have Geralt on your team. And
Right.
that's totally fine with me. Like, I think that's great. He was in a book first, but he's more well known for being a video game character. Far more known, I think.
Now listen, peace and love to the author of those Witcher books. That boy needs to be like,
yeah.
Thank you
so much.
Be
Yeah.
team down bad to CD Projekt Red. You know what I mean?
Totally agree.
He just bought a new BMW because of those guys.
Yeah, and I have zero problems with Geralt on your team. That's why I'm saying, like, Cal totally makes sense to be available. So just waiting for you to draft him. He might be waiting for the 4th round. He might be saving Cal for the round 4.
Or, I mean, listen, buddy, there's a character in that game that would fit pretty well with team down bad.
That's right. I won't steal your thunder. Are you ready for me to make my my penultimate pick?
I am, sir. Who's your last pick?
It's the penultimate. Got 2 more. This one is my one from guy. This game or this round, he's the final boss from Sekiro. His name is the Sword Saint Ishin. Isshin.
I don't know this guy.
Yeah, he's the Glock Saint. That's him.
The Glock Saint? Is that his like fan term for him?
Yep. He's
funny.
bad motherfucker, and he's insanely fun to fight. Like when you learn the patterns and all that stuff, and it's just so epic. I'm not going to spoil the way he shows up because it is also one of the most insane sequences you'll ever see in a From game. But oh man, he's the best. He is generally regarded as the best final boss or just the best boss of any From game. If that tells you anything. I see it all the time. People ask on Reddit, what's your favorite boss? What's your favorite boss out of all the From games? And it's always this guy.
Dang, he's sick. I've never seen this character, and I'm just sitting here like, Stony Boney, looking at the character design and be like, oh shit, I want to see that guy. Knowing I'm not getting that far in that game. Knowing I'm too jumpy for all those parries. Oh, yeah. I wish I was good.
I'll play it through on a Let's Play. Watch me do it.
All right. So your 9th pick is Ishin the Sword Saint.
That's correct. You want me to run through the team real quick?
Yeah, update us on your team, buddy.
Okay, so we had Cloud, then we had 2B, then we had Scorpion, Lady Dimitrescu, the Silent, Shermie, Tecmo Bow, Leon Kennedy, and the Sword Saint Ishin.
Okay.
I have 1 pick left.
I have 1 pick left. Now, it's interesting that Ghoul Beans asked that question because my next pick comes from a licensed game. And it comes from 2 games that are 2 of my favorite games that feature my favorite comic book character. But I was like, how the fuck can I can't draft Spider-Man. Like, that's not fair, right? Spider-Man is not fair, right?
I wouldn't mind. I know what you mean.
In my personal, for my personal gamemanship and like pride, I can't draft Spider-Man. But there's a character in Spider-Man Miles Morales who is original to the game, who is awesome, and features one of what I consider to be the best side quests in a game ever, and that is Spider-Cat.
Oh, snap. Oh, my goodness.
So my
damn it, you
pick,
won! You won!
I don't know about all that, buddy. I don't know about all that. Hold on. Let me see, because the best thing about like a character about like Spider-Cat, right, is the fact that he could very well have his own theme song.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy who would.
So let me see if I can't. I think I could locate it. Let me see. But dude, I don't want to give away the the quest, but it is so fucking delightful. And the photo mode pictures you can take with Spider-Cat in that game.
Oh my god. Dude, that's incredible.
He rides around in your backpack and he wears a little Spider-Man mask.
What a great game, honestly. Oh.
Spider-Cat, Spider-Cat, not really spider, mostly cat. Still can't walk, but he swings, shooting webs out his ding-a-ling. Look out! Here comes the Spider-Cat. Spider-Cat, he's the man. He's best friends with Van Damme. Belly rubs, biting hands. Every now and then shits in sand. Hey there! There goes the Spider-Cat.
Hold up. There's a Spider-Cat hot toy. Shit. Fuck me, I guess.
Well, you're going to own that soon.
My mom said, okay, so hold on. My mom wanted to know how many rounds there's going to be. So there's 10 picks this round. That was my 10th pick. So it's the last one. Emily said the most Halls pick of all.
Totally
it 100% agree. Is. My mom said, great pick, Halls. Will! Oh, shit! Will's here. He said hot dog. That was amazing.
William.
So listen, I'm going to go over my team one more time, buddy. All right. So my 10 picks for the third round of the video game character draft. Ada Wong from Resident Evil. Miranda Lawson from the Mass Effect franchise. Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. Mai from King of Fighters. Link from The Legend of Zelda. E. Honda from Street Fighter. Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal. Chrono from Chrono Trigger. Jade from Dragon Quest XI. And Spider-Cat.
Solid lineup, my friend. You did it.
Oh, Crowlisty. That He said, unfortunately, the wager only grows darker and larger. There's nothing but wholesome Spider-Cat content on the internet.
All right. Should I bring it home?
Yep. What's your last one, buddy?
Not really a mic drop. This is another old school pick. I just decided that I wanted some kind of like AI to keep the team together.
Yeah, to compete with Cortana on my side.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So, who I'm drafting is Shodan from System Shock 2. I'm gonna bring her. She's gonna coordinate everything, and she can be kind of like, you know, she'll keep the team in line. I think.
Listen,
she needs to.
I almost guarantee that when you said that, immediately the people who know what you are talking about were like, oh shit, great pull. And then the other people are like, who's that? And if they Google it and see this image, I guarantee they recognize this image. Yeah. This image from System Shock 2 is among the iconic PC gaming images, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I knew this before I knew what System Shock 2 was. When I finally played System Shock 2, I was like, oh, that's what that's from?
Yep. And that game was great, man. Like, really ahead of its time, I thought. Mm-hmm. And it directly, like BioShock basically rips the story off of this game. I mean, I think it's the same.
Yeah, it's
maybe the same team.
BioShock is a spiritual successor to System Shock. It's even in the name, right? Like, to carry the Shock moniker.
But really, truly a fantastic game, a hard game, but a very great one for its time. And this character was very, very iconic at the time.
Yeah, and one of those games that's seemingly had a remake in the works for a long time now. That really seems like it's having some problems, right? So I think that's an excellent pick. And if Nick fucked around with social media, he would be voting for you because of this.
He would.
Nick, every now and then they'll be quiet in the Discord chat, right? We'll be talking. We'll probably all be like, our stomachs are hurting from doing bits about Nick shitting himself at Disney World or something. And then Nick will just like break the silence with, man, System Shock 2, that's a good game. and no doubt what he's doing is scrolling through his massive Steam library. Yep. And he comes across it. I should play that again. Probably looks like shit on my rig, but System Shock 2, that's a good game. I know that's one of our buddy Nick's favorite games.
Damn right. Well, look, man, this was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah,
I really
man.
enjoyed it.
So we've both got a team of 30, right?
Yep.
So what we're going to do is the final vote, like to decide who wins this round, will be on our Twitter at High Potion Pod. There'll be a poll under where we post the audio version of this on Monday. Everybody go vote. But in the meantime, let's do some polling. You know what I mean? Let's get some
instant
early
reactions.
Yeah,
early,
instant
early
reactions.
reactions.
So let's get chat involved again. Let's do one more poll. You guys vote who you think won round 3. And it's going to be me and Steve. And we'll give this one some time. Okay. So, sorry. You know, trying to fucking run this at the same time, talk my dumbass head off.
You're doing a good
One
job.
more time. One more time, my dude. I am going to put your team as it stands when I made the image on screen. And I want you to remind everybody of the full team, because that's what they're voting, right? Like who wins after the 3rd round, okay? So let me get them pulled up for you. And then, of course, add your your new guys.
Yeah.
Let me present real quick. Okay, Steve, take it.
All right, here we go. So we've got Master Chief, Solid Snake, Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5, Sephiroth, Chris Redfield, Kratos, Samus Aran, Ken from Street Fighter, Lara Croft, Gurman from Bloodborne, Goro Majima, Millennia, Blade of Mikola, The Coltrane, Isaac from Dead Space, Gordon Freeman, Mega Man, Kane from Final Fantasy IV, the Doom Marine, Sekiro, Handsome Jack, and in my 3rd round, Cloud Strife, 2B, Scorpion, Lady Dimitrescu, the Silent, Shermie from King of Fighters, Tecmo Jackson, Leon Kennedy, the Sword Saint, or the Glock Saint, and Shodan from System Shock 2. That's 30 badasses.
And I'm not just saying this. I'm not just saying this as a good friend. You know, I think you've got a killer fucking team, dude. Like maybe I get a little too goofy and a little too. I think with my heart, not my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we'll see. So far, this is what I got. I have Roger Wilco from Space Quest. That's a goofy pick. I've got Anthony Carmine from Gears of War 3, The Boy Who Lived. Commander Shepard, Ellie from The Last of Us, Cortana from Halo, Geralt from The Witcher, Ronnie from Elden Ring, Kiryu Kazuma from the Yakuza Like a Dragon franchise, Little Mac from Punch-Out, Clementine from The Walking Dead Telltale games, Cammy from Street Fighter, Monty Mole, because nobody beats Monty Mole, Fox McCloud from Star Fox, Estinian from Final Fantasy XIV, Sonic the Hedgehog, Joker from Mass Effect, Tifa, sheesh, from Final Fantasy VII, Yuna Uwu from Final Fantasy X, Jin Sakai, and Sub-Zero. And then I added this evening Ada Wong from Resident Evil, Miranda Lawson from Mass Effect, Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, oh my God, from King of Fighters, Link from The Legend of Zelda, E Honda from Street Fighter, Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, Chrono from Chrono Trigger, Jade from Dragon Quest XI, and last but certainly not least, Spider Cat. So that's my team. So, buddy,
Spider Cat.
I think we did it.
We did it, man. Your last pick of every round is always a killer. You go for that King Tom vote too.
You're right. You know I go for that. I guarantee you there's never been a sports pick in a draft that was geared towards one dude, like Roger Wilco from Space Quest. I said that's one vote. If we can just start with the team King Tom vote, we're to the top, baby. You know?
That's right.
So listen, buddy, thank you so much for the last 100 episodes. Man, this has been so much fun. Like, do you remember when we used to sit around and eat roly-poly and go stony bologna and talk about doing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast years and years ago, 10 plus years ago? And then we never got around to it. And like, if anything good came out of a fucking worldwide pandemic, it was the idea for this podcast. And I have so much fun doing this. Like, you're just always down to do the bits, and thanks, buddy. I appreciate it every week. And thanks, Cindy. I know I thanked her earlier, but thank her for being so cool and letting you record with your man-child of a friend about video games every week.
Man, thank you too, man. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. You know, it's fun. Like the Buffy thing can still happen on.
That was Monday. Before all the weird shit started coming out about Joss Whedon. Now I watch it and I'm like, oh, what was he doing behind the scenes with his fucking dick skinners? Bleh. Bleh.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Anyways,
but, to get his stain off of this show, but like it's been a fun 100, and it doesn't feel like it's been.
I know
it goes by
so quick. Yeah, So listen, guys. Chat. Thank you guys for hanging out and getting goofy with us this week. Thanks for everybody that listens. We really appreciate y'all. I'm going to do the spiel real quick. Follow us on Twitter at High Potion Pod. Follow Steve at Stone Cobra. Follow me at Blue Harvest Pod. Email us questions, comments, whatever. highpotionpodcast@gmail.com. highpotionpod@gmail.com. Fucked it up again. Wouldn't be an episode without me messing part of this up. For Christ's sakes, leave us a review, please, please, please. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll see you guys soon, next week. Oh, let's check in with chat. Let's see what chat voted. View results. I'm winning by 1.
Okay, it's tight one.
Early polling may point towards me favoring, but who knows? There's some blue accounts on Twitter you could flip.
Stop the steal.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for everything.
Bye, guys. Love y'all. Thanks, chat.